Welcome, Commanders family, into Command Center Postgame Live, presented by United Airlines, proud to fly the Washington Commanders. Brian Coble Jr. here, Mr. 8-9 Santana Mall, Super Bowl champion Brian Mitchell. Fellas, whenever we're on the road, it's never an easy game, man. It's always a hard racer, man. It didn't go the way it's planned. What are y'all initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts, man, you almost had them. I mean, you honestly came out here and did what I said, matched their intensity. You came out here and played for 50-something minutes, and you matched their intensity. I think the last few minutes, man, you just, kind of lay the egg a little bit. I think when you look at this game, coming into this game, these teams was pretty evenly matched. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that they had going for them is that 12 man, and we couldn't allow that to affect us. I think our guys out there withstood that and played some great football, but just didn't have enough to go out there and finish it.
I believe the refs made some bad calls in this game, but down the stretch, we hurt ourselves. Yeah. We shot ourselves in the foot. Sam trying to get extra yards, you got to know when the journey is over and get down and hold on to the football. St. Jude's 2 back-to-back penalties that gave them more yards to get down there close so they can score a touchdown. When you're playing, like Tanner said, they're evenly matched teams. And when you have a game like that, you have to make sure you don't hurt yourself. Yeah.
Right.
And when you start looking at it down the stretch, I think we hurt ourselves.
Yeah.
And we can't do that. When we talk about winning the turnover battle, we lost that. And that's the ultimate thing. You come into their house, you help them beat you basically, and you can't do it. We played tight. We came way over to Seattle, but as Eric stated, when we lost to the Eagles, that was entertaining the fans for a little bit, but we lost. Yeah. We're not in this thing to entertain and lose. We're in this thing to win football games, and you win football games by helping yourself, not hurting yourself. So ultimately, as we look at this thing, we have people talking about offense. Defense kept us in the game early.
Yeah.
Offense, special teams hurt us without the extra point. Offense didn't get in the end zone early on when they should have. Defense down the stretch began to flip it over and letting them score. Yeah. Offense started to come back to help them out a little bit, but we made a little bit too many mistakes on that defensive side of the ball that allowed them time to get down the field.
And so, fellas, we're going to talk more about this offense, but if you're just now joining us, we will be taking Ron Rivera. As soon as he's had his pressure, we'll be taking head coach Ron Rivera. Now, we talk about these mental aspects. B-Match, I'm going to start with you. And all season we've been saying, expect these mental laps. This is a young team. This is a new offense. Now we're way past halfway in the season. Is that still a conversation we can have that we need to be patient with these guys?
I'm done with the young team aspect, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I watched number 21 that plays on the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
He's a rookie. Mm-hmm. He plays all over the football field. Yeah. Devin Witherspoon, okay? He played with Quan Martin. Yeah. So I don't care about how young you are. When you're in this position, you have a certain talent level where you got to play up to what you're capable of. And you got to do it consistently. And a lot of times it has to come a lot quicker than in an ordinary job in life. In football, they draft you at a certain point. They start you, put you on the field. You got to go out there and make it happen. Yeah. And yes, in points in this game, one side of the ball is playing great. Other side of the ball played great late. But the ultimate thing is we got to learn how to do that for a whole game. Yeah. And listen, I ask for it all the time because I played this and I understand. Tanner did the same thing. When you're being held accountable, you adjust some things, you change up. You look at some guys played great, but in certain plays, they didn't make tackles. Yeah. Listen, I don't know. I know you can't tackle a lot in practice anymore, but damn, bring that move in, that dummy that moves around on his own and take people to the ground. Listen, I played running back in this league, kick return. You run in there and just throw your shoulders out at me, I'm going to tell them, rip your damn shoulder out of the socket. I'm trying to hurt you. But you just hitting guys. Guys don't go down with that. You got to hit and wrap. Hold on to it. Let somebody else come help you out. Those things have to happen on this football team, and we got to hold these guys accountable because you know what? It's cool sometimes when you're fighting hard. But no, I don't want to see fighting hard. Yeah. We talked about this team possibly making the playoffs. You got to win these type of games. You can't lose these type of games.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what B-Mitch talking about, I think offensively that one turnover basically decided the game. You know what I mean? Like you basically held control of the game for the entire first half, even though we let them get in there and went to have it tied up. And then you had the ball again driving and you turn it over, and that switch of momentum right there, turned things over. And if you look at it, the defense still stood strong. The defense still wouldn't really, break. So, they fought hard. And when we asked pregame, what is the outcome?
We are waiting coach's presser. I think coach is up right now. We'll take it to him.
How do you process this when your offense goes out and do that, and then the defense gives it right back up?
That's probably the biggest disappointment. We had to be better there. We had to take advantage of that opportunity. And, it was unfortunate. I mean, it was set up in a good situation and just we didn't get it done.
Seattle moved the ball pretty well today. What was going on with your defense that wasn't, I guess, a little bit better?
I think there were a couple things that were inconsistent. As far as opportunities to stop the run, we got to be better and put ourselves in better situations as far as second down situations. Second and short, second and 6, second and 5, second and 4. That's just that's tough to defend there.
Did you consider going for 2 at the end?
In talking and trying to get a feel for it, the biggest thing that you get concerned with is how much time was left. Because, again, when they don't have consequences, now the opportunity to move the ball down comes into play. You know what I'm saying? Because they had 2 timeouts left. So, again, it was one of those things that I liked our chances going into overtime. I liked the way that we moved the ball. We found a couple of things that we felt we could exploit, and we did. We did it twice the last couple of drives. So just felt good going into overtime.
Before you talked about the importance of the philosophy of going for 2 on the road in particular, was it the time thing specifically here, or is that more of a philosophical shift? Well,
it's in the numbers, okay, and how much time was left, and that's the biggest thing.
On offense, Sam, just overall your thoughts on his performance?
Everything I thought he did, he gave us an opportunity to win. That's the biggest thing you can ask from the quarterback. Put you in position to win. He did that. Now, there are a couple things that you'd like to have back, obviously. A couple decisions that could have been better, and those are things that, I'm nitpicking, but those are things that he's going to learn, he'll get better with. And then the only real big flop that you saw was the fumble, and that was it. I mean, young man played hard, played well, and again, as I said, just gave us the opportunity at the end.
Your running backs had big game as receivers. The run-pass balance was a bit out of whack again. Was that just sort of just the way the game evolved, or did you guys just think it was better to attack them through the air?
Well, I think it evolved a little bit that way, but, we were having success attacking them through the air. And, again, as I said, later on in the game, we found a couple things that we liked, and we stuck to it, and it put us right back in the game.
Was that a conversation on the sideline when they did start having that success running the ball? How did you guys figure out that adjustment? I think it was like beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was something that EB saw and brought up and just put it into action.
And then what about the ejection early in this game? Manuel Forbes, a guy, not the most physical fellow.
Well, it was a helmet to helmet. I just don't think it was a vicious one. The guy bounced up and went right back into the huddle, so it just didn't look like it was, and it really most certainly wasn't an intentional one, because, he was lowering his target and the receiver went down to protect himself at the same time, and that created the helmet to helmet. I know the onus is on the defensive player to miss that, but sometimes it's an incidental one. I mean, I get the helmet-to-helmet call, but I struggle with the ejection.
At the end of the first half, and then obviously there at the end, the defense struggled. Is it something about those 2-minute situations that is particularly troublesome for the defense right now?
Well, we stopped them on the 2-minute just before the half.
Right, if he hadn't thrown the intentional ground,
We stopped them. So sometimes you stop them, sometimes you don't. Okay?
What about the high snaps? Missed extra point. Tress had to grab one up out of the air. How concerned are you about that?
I'm not concerned. We got it straightened out at the end when it mattered and when it counted. I mean, they all matter. They all count. And again, Tress got it down, and unfortunately we didn't get the first one.
You obviously often emphasize little things, details that matter. You got like a 12-man on the field, one drive late, and then some other penalties and stuff. That's sort of like the line of what you're kind of talking about, those mistakes.
Well, we had the 12-man. That was a mistake. Okay, there was a little confusion, trying to get it set with the referees, trying to get the call straight, and then guy didn't hear the personnel call, and he stayed on. Unfortunately, they got us with it.
Take 2 more. With their run game success, were you getting the play you wanted out of your D-line? How much of it was that, or is it just guys not getting gaps, getting out of gaps?
Well, there was a couple things that went on in that, and get more detailed as we get a chance to really break it down and watch it.
Last one.
The D-line, just in general, how did you feel they did the second game without Montez and Tate?
Well, there were some good things and positives, some things that we're going to, absolutely work on and try and get corrected, and some things that, they did that were pretty good. Unfortunately, it just wasn't good enough.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Shout out head coach Ron Rivera. That was his presser. Now, fellas, we're going to talk more about this offense. We're going to talk more about this defense. But first, I'm going to send it over to the legend, Logan Paulson.
LP.
Logan, take it away.
All right. Thanks so much, Brian. I mean, this game is really tough to swallow. I mean, I feel like every single week we're in one of these close, kind of nail-biting games. And I think when I look at it, I say, why is that? And I look at the offensive side of the football to start. And one of the things that really sticks out to me is just kind of the offensive efficiency after the first quarter, after the first drive, kind of through the second and third quarters, leading those last 2 touchdowns. Obviously, like when you have such a low offensive play volume, it kind of shouts to me that there's low offensive efficiency. So I would say like one of the things that sticks out is obviously big explosive play from B-Rob. 2 of those, great job. Both of them led to points. Touchdown, obviously, for the first one, field goal on the second one, and then offense gets a little bit quiet. You get those 2 big touchdowns late on those long drives. I just felt like if they had had something in between there, it would have helped kind of alleviate some of the pressure on the defense and led to kind of a more kind of well-rounded offensive/defensive performance. And so to me, maybe it's my bias as an offensive player. I always look at it from an offensive perspective, and I say to myself, offensively, what could they have done better? I think increasing the offensive efficiency for the second and third quarters would have been awesome. I think there's a lot of positive things to take away, but ultimately you say, why do you lose? You say, offensively, can we be a little bit more efficient? So that's my initial high-level takeaway on the offensive side of the ball. Brian, B. Mitch, Tana, back to you.
Yeah, you know that.
Better not be.
Brian Cole Jr. here with Santana Moss. Brian Mitchell, we are awaiting Sam Howell's presser. Sam, 329 yards. We talked about his development. It wasn't a win, but how good was it to see him continue to sling that ball?
Yeah, it's great to see him go out there and, like I said before, have successful days like that. You want to see those successful days end in wins. But that's what I'm talking about earlier. It gives you hope that this might be the guy. But it's all about complementary football, man. You got to put it together. You know what I'm saying? We can sit here and be happy that we got a passer that's throwing it up and down the field, but if you ain't getting no win, you can't be. You can't be happy about it.
You can't be. No, for sure. Now remember, Sam Howell will be at the podium. We will take that. Until then, we got to go to break. We'll be coming back, talking more about this offense, talking more about this defense, and the loss here in Seattle. We'll be back.
Have fun, sis.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards card. Choose the online shopping category and earn 3% cash back.
You think life is short? Football is short. The regular season's just 18 weeks. That's it. So cherish every over and under before it's over on FanDuel. With live betting on every NFL game. Because before you know it, a cold night at a Buffalo Bills game will just be a cold night in Buffalo.
Bet $5, get $150 bonus if your team wins, plus a profit boost every single day. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Hey, Marissa, what are you doing?
Searching.
For what?
My financial wellness.
Stop searching. Go Northwest. I went to Northwest Federal Credit Union, even better than a bank. And they hooked me up with totally free financial counseling to help me manage my money.
Totally free?
Totally free.
I feel my financial wellness running through me already.
Whatever works. Stop searching. Go Northwest.
Are you on your way?
Yep, coming.
And Mom and Dad?
Don't worry, they'll be there.
Happy anniversary!
Go beyond the expected with the #1 most dependable mass market brand 3 years in a row by J.D. Power. Kia, movement that inspires.
One bag.
The winter play was really coming together. Until disaster struck. Tensions were high. Luckily, replacement costumes were shipped with FedEx, which means Mr. Harvey could picture the perfect night. We're delivering more happy for the holidays.
Dad, we're gonna be late.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards card. Choose the online shopping category and earn 3% cash back.
Welcome in, Commanders family. Command Center on the road in Seattle is brought to you by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. We invite you to stop searching and go Northwest. Check out nwfcu.org/Washington to see how easy it is to join and how Northwest can help make your money work for you. Stop by a branch or visit nwfcu.org/Washington today. And Commanders family, as we await Sam Howell's presser, it is time for the fast play of the game, presented by the Maryland Lottery Fast Play Games. Play fast, win fast today, but please play responsibly. And this play is no other than Brian Robinson's 51-yard touchdown that came very, very early in the game. Fellas, what did you see from that play? 10, I'm going to start with you.
I think it was a great play by Sam, just making something happen out of nothing. That's something that we've been talking about of lately with him, just finding a way to, once that clock go off, get out that pocket, get to running, and keeping your eyes downfield. You saw B-Rob, gave it to him, and B-Rob did the rest.
And you look at it later, they came back and they ran basically like an identical play. And it's a running back staying alive, and Sam keeping his eyes down the field. The first one, he had to avoid tackles, avoid sacks to get the ball there. The second one, exact same thing. And I thought it was the same play. I looked up like, damn. I was like, this is another play?
Yeah.
The second time? So ultimately, they did some great things in that position. Just got to close them out, bro. Got to close them out.
And Tanner, earlier in the week, you did your savvy receivers, right? And out of all the guys we would have thought that led in receptions today, I don't think we would have thought it was Brian Robinson Jr. How good is it to see him get more involved in this offense? Not necessarily running, but being able to show his athletic ability in the passing game.
I mean, one of the things about this game right now, I think it has transformed to more pass catching, running back savvy or heavy than back in the day when you just handed it off to these guys. We were just talking about the guys like Christian McCaffrey and all those guys. But B. Robinson's a guy, he can run it also. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing more production out of our run game. But we understand that EB's offense, those guys are lethal coming out of the backfield, and for him to go out there and put up them numbers, he kind of put the league on notice that, hey, he can do this too.
Yep. Almost 20 yards a catch.
Yes, that's big.
Says a lot, especially for a running back.
And we are awaiting Sam Howell at the pressure, but until then, I need to see some play breakdown. So we're going to throw it over to Logan Paulson, who's going to break down that B-Rob touchdown.
All right, thanks so much, Brian. Let's take a look at this play. I mean, we've seen the highlight a whole bunch, and to me, just a couple things stick out. One, this is a fire zone by the Seattle Seahawks. They're going to bring this guy off the slot here, going to do a little line stunt here. I think they've got a little bit of a mental mistake here up top. It's hard to tell exactly what they're doing, but they dropped two guys into the flat here with the running back, right? And it looks like they're playing some type of some type of match, right, with a plug player in the middle, right? So you got that guy in the middle. You got these two guys kind of matching up outside, match, finding your best matchups all across the board. He's going to match the back, and then the safety is kind of in the space here. So if you look at it, they drop the tight end. But what Sam does a great job of here is identifying. Bobby Wagner does a great job here, buzzing to this slant. See him checking this out. Vision this way, unusual because you think he'd work to the three receiver side, which is up top here. Three receivers up top, 1, 2, 3, but instead he chooses to work down here, 1, 2. I think he understands where the quarterback's vision is taking him, does a great job of finding that out. Great job. Sam pulls the ball down, eats it, avoids the sack from Jamal Adams, and then slowly works to this side of the field. And as he works, check him out. He gets all this attention, all this vision as he works kind of up and out. All these flat players say, I got to fit this up. Vision comes here. They drop the back in the flat because they're playing this man coverage here. Everyone's attached to their coverage player. B-Rob sneaks out because Sam draws the attention. They drop B-Rob up the sideline, and literally there's no one else in this coverage picture to take care of him. So awesome job here. I think Sam deserves all the credit here, understanding what they're trying to do here, seeing this as a bad play, bad look, get out of it. Buy a little time with your legs, and this is what happens when the quarterback can get some stuff off schedule, right? Off schedule, find an open receiver, they drop him in coverage, and then who knew B-Rob was that fast, man? Great job by him finding the end zone and starting this game off on the right foot with an explosive football play. Huge day for B-Rob. Great to see that. Back to you, Brian.
Now it's time for the toast of the town, presented by La Chemin Devra Champagne and Branson Cognac, the official champagne and cognac of the Washington Commanders. B-Mitch, how'd I do with that?
You got by a scale of 1 to 10, you were 7.
I always Shout out to Ed and keep it real with me. And before we go, one last question about this run game. Not necessarily just B-Rob. 5 carries for 10 yards in the first half. How hard is it to make moves offensively when you're not able to get your run game going? 10, I'm gonna start.
Well, I don't think it's that hard for this offense because we've seen these guys be successful without it. I just feel like over time you would like to see a little more of it. That's all.
Now, when I look at it, I think ultimately you said 5 carries, 10 yards. That's 2 yards a carry. You're not winning on first down.
Right.
You're not winning on second down, so you throw the ball. And they were having success throwing the football, moving it down the field. I think after every game, we talk about how many yards Sam had passing. I want everybody out there to understand, if we're running the ball like a normal team, he won't have all those yards passing.
100%. And we're going to talk a little more about this. We're going to talk about this defense as well. And we're going to sit down Logan Paulson a little later in the show. Until then, we are about to go to break. This is Command Center Post-Game Live. Brian Cole Jr., Santana Moss, Brian Mitchell. We'll be back.
You're going to like this story because it's about you. You who forgot to charge your phone last night. You who sprints to the boarding line so your bag will fit. You with him. Until one day you boarded a United plane that was designed for, well, you. And your phone got charged, your bag fit, so did everyone else's, but this story isn't about them. Your toddler didn't tantrum, and you got to fly happily ever after. The end.
Hey, it's me, food. I'm so much more than just what we eat. I'm hand-cut, fresh and frosted. I love it. Aw, I love you too. See, life is always something new. All messy, frantic, and amazing. And from where I sit, you look delicious. That's why every day is worth celebrating. If you can. Stay fresh. Sincerely, food. Sincerely, Safeway.
The final stone of the championship. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary.
Roger, this is looking good.
We believe every moment in sports should be epic.
Is that curling? Nah.
This morning's news, curling fever has taken over the world.
So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Play the Maryland Lottery. Because fun looks good on you. Right now, play our new $10,000 cash and $100,000 cash scratch-offs. They have big top prizes for big fun.
What you looking for? My financial wellness. Bro, stop searching. Go Northwest. I went to Northwest Federal Credit Union, even better than a bank. I'm actually really building my savings now. Savings? How much? We're not gonna find it in there. Try here. Bro, stop searching. Go Northwest.
Toyota Tacoma. The off-road legend. Built for adventure and designed for longevity. Equipped for any terrain with the guts to be unstoppable. Right now, buy a Tacoma with 3.99 APR financing. Toyota, let's go places.
This family, Command Center Post-Game Live. It is time for today's Never Ordinary Play presented by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And this is going to Antonio Gibson. We talk about the running backs leading in receptions. He was second in receptions for our team.
Yeah.
How good is it to see AJ get more and more involved in this offense?
Yeah, it's great to see him, get some touches and being productive. I think one of the things that stand out, with him too, which we talked about this years ago, is seeing him back there at kick return gives him a little more, I guess you can say, he gets lathered before he get a chance to really go out there. You know what I mean? He's getting those touches that, on the special team side, so when he does come in the game, as a running back, he's already ready to go.
And he had a few plays in the kick return game where he almost came out of it. He bumped into his players a couple times, but if you just get one of those breaks, he can go the distance for you. And when you see that and you get involved with the offense, it gives you a chance to go out there and help the team out. I watched him where he had 5 receptions today for 42 yards. He also carried the ball 4 times for 13 yards. But ultimately, you get involved in the overall game. You know, he can have an impact in different ways because I saw one of those returns. If he comes off that block properly, he's going to get at least another 25 to 40 yards.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Every time we mention a player, they end up walking behind us. It happens every time.
That's how I was last week.
Something about us is
Let's
magic.
start mentioning Sam. Now show up quicker.
Speaking of Sam, we are waiting his presser. We will take his presser immediately. And we talked a lot about this offense. Let's get into this defense. Yeah. Tanner, you talked about what Geno Smith can do. Yeah. I think 380-plus yards today passing. Yeah. Big game for Geno, man. What did you see from him in our defense?
I saw the guy who I thought he was. He's a gunslinger. He's going to sling it around. But for the most part, you know, this team has basically, you know, pride themselves off of the explosive plays. And we saw that. They got a little dump off that went for 64 yards.
Yes.
I mean,
because of bad tackles.
But that's us not handling our business. But that's still a explosive play. So for the most part, our defense did good. I mean, you know, one of the things I talked about coming to the game, third down, get off the field. Those guys was 1 for 12 on third down last week. They was ranked 30th coming into the game last week in third down percentages, and they was 4 for 14 tonight. So our defense did a great job of getting off the field, but that just go to show you where complementary football are not on hand-to-hand, and we find ourselves in the losing column instead of the winning column. So, yeah, Geno did a lot. He threw the ball around, and we still only lost by 3 points.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and like for me, early on, I saw the defensive backs playing tight.
Yeah.
And you saw Emmanuel get kicked out the game. One flag came out early, and then all of a sudden, they started playing off a little bit. And the flags started coming anyway. You know, and I'm not trying to blame the referees. I want any fan to think that. But what I'm saying is, and Santel, you know this, ref throws flags on certain plays in certain situations, ejects a guy for a hit. I mean, the guy's coming down and he's going to hit him. He wasn't trying to do that.
He wasn't trying to.
Wasn't targeting. They call it
roughing the pass.
Unnecessary roughness. And then they kick him out.
Right.
You don't get thrown out. You get thrown out for targeting.
Yeah.
And it has to be a meaningful, purposeful thing. But once you see that, it makes you place a little back.
Yeah.
It scares you a little bit. And I think that happened in this game today, especially in that second half.
Yeah, and B-Mitch, you mentioned the tackling and the missed tackles, right? So I want to talk about that real quick before we send it to Logan Paulson. We are still awaiting Sam Howell at the presser. This far into the season, you guys were offenders, right? You guys were offensive players. You guys didn't play on the defensive end, but maybe y'all can give some insight. How do you fix those things? Because that's becoming kind of a trend, those missed tackles.
In practice now, they can't hit, okay? But you can run full speed up on somebody and wrap them up and then let them go. When I was playing with Coach Gibbs, we didn't tackle people to the ground. I want everybody to understand, y'all call it prehistoric football. North was getting ready to play real football. Yeah. We would run up, they call full speed butt up. They would come, they hit you with a wrap up, and then they let go. Yeah. And that's what you got used to. And as a running back, you get used to throwing people off of you with the elbow and things of that nature, stiff arming guys. So it's not about tackling to the ground, it's about how do you approach it in practice. Yeah. And if you go full speed, you wrap up a little bit, all you got to do in the game, hold on for dear life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I just had to give B-Rob a little doubt because he got my fantasy looking nice. You know,
he's a baller, brother.
I wish we can get them W's, but fantasy looking all right, you know?
Hey, listen, I had to play B-Rob and Sam Howell in fantasy today, so I'm not doing too well. But I know somebody who is doing well. That's Logan Paulson because he's in that warm studio back at the crib. Logan, sending it to you, man.
Thanks, Brian. Let's talk a little bit about this defense, man. And I think, I agree with Santana there. I think they did a lot of really positive things. They forced a lot of 3 and out. I think they were 4 for 13 or something with regards to third down conversion. That's an excellent third down conversion percentage. You say, well, where did the defense fall short? Where did they go wrong? And I think you just say you got to look at that explosive play, right? That explosive way to Walker on that little check down underneath where the tackle gets broken by Percy Butler. Like, that's tough, man, because that leads to an explosive play. And everyone says, oh, well, the fumble led to points too. No, it did not. They were able to force a 3 and out right after that fumble. Great job. Every single drive where there was an explosive play, that drive to Walker, the next play for the touchdown drive, the go-ahead score, there's a 20-yard completion to Lockett. I think you all remember that. So anytime that the defense was able to manage explosive plays to the Seattle offense, they will do okay. It's the 2 explosive plays in the second half of this football game that are the difference. Obviously, there's a couple penalties there that the defense got inflicted. Can't do anything about the refs, but I look at those explosive plays to Walker, to Lockett in the second half that led directly to points and say that's where they fell down. Every other aspect of the game in terms of third down efficiency, they did a great job, but we knew explosive plays were going to be a big thing, and we saw that executed here today, and it's unfortunate, but that's the difference in the game. It's 2 plays, and that's the difference. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks, Logan. It's time for Hitting the Laurel, presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. Now let's take a look at the future for the Commanders. This Sunday we will be back at home playing the New York Giants for our second time playing them. We didn't go our way the first time, but we got them back at home. Then on Thanksgiving, we head over to Dallas to play the Cowboys. Then we're back at home to play the Miami Dolphins. Some heavy, heavy games are in our schedule, and every game counts, as we talked about earlier in the pregame show. This is Command Center on the road in Seattle. It's brought to you by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. We invite you to stop searching and go Northwest. Check out nwfcu.org/Washington to see how easy it is to join and how Northwest can help make your money work for you. Stop by a branch or visit nwfcu.org/Washington. Today, we'll be back with more.
Hey, grab me one too.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We have more boosts than anyone else. We power up the odds on hundreds of bets with Bet Boost. We give you the option to increase your profit with our incredible Profit Boost. And just when you think you can't get better odds, we unleash the Super Boost. Check out our boosts and see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Beyond Zero is Toyota's vision to reach beyond carbon neutrality with our products, services, and operations. Today, we empower you to choose how to reduce your own carbon footprint. With an electrified, diversified lineup of hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and battery EVs. Let's drive toward a carbon-neutral future together. Toyota, let's go places.
Are you on your way?
Yep, coming.
And Mom and Dad?
Don't worry, they'll be there.
Happy anniversary!
Go beyond the expected with the #1 most dependable mass market brand 3 years in a row by J.D. Power. Kia, movement that inspires.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception? First down? Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
One back.
The winter play was really coming together. Until disaster struck. Tensions were high. Luckily, replacement costumes were shipped with FedEx, which means Mr. Harvey could picture the perfect night. We're delivering more happy for the holidays.
Welcome back, Commanders family. Command Center Postgame Live is presented by United Airlines. Proud to fly the Washington Commanders. Brian Colbert Jr. here with Santana Moss, Brian Mitchell. We are awaiting Sam Howell's presser. The minute he gets up there, we will take his presser, even if I got to cut these gentlemen off. But until then, our producer gave us free reign to talk about whatever we want to talk about. I'm not talking about Tanner's fantasy team because my fantasy team ain't doing well. So you know what? We're going to talk about something else.
Let's talk about my fantasy team.
How's your fantasy
Don't have one.
Well, we're going to talk about something Tanner does like to talk about, and that's the turnover battle. We always talk about winning the turnover battle and how we need it. Well, the last few times we've lost the turnover battle but won the game. Today we won the turnover battle but lost the game, man. Talk about this defense a little bit and how they were able to get after the ball.
Well, we lost the turnover battle today and lost the game because we the only one had the turnover today. But, at the end of the point, I think one of the things that, part of the turnover battle is about making less mistakes. You know what I mean? And so for the most part, we didn't have that many mistakes. Those guys was killing. They beat us in penalties, and and in games like this, when you go on the road, you have to kind of minimize all that type of stuff to have a fighting chance. And I think, like I say, 2 even and match teams, you go out there and you did all that, and you just had 1 turnover. A turnover, a very costly one, because at the time you had the momentum.
Yep.
And you had control of basically their defense. We was doing what we wanted to do. And if you saw, as soon as they got ahead of us, they started playing different kind of defense. Now they started bringing more guys. Now they started getting in Sam's face and rushing him. Now you start seeing those sacks pile up on those sides. So that's why we talk about those situations, because it just takes that much to change the whole momentum of things. And I think you can look at that turnover as a big momentum changer.
I played with John Harbaugh when I was in Philadelphia, and John always talked about the hidden yardage. Okay, we are so gung-ho and so caught up in analytics and fantasy that we just look at passing yards, touchdowns, interceptions, things like that. When you have a 15-yard penalty, when you have a penalty that you go out and make a play and it continues somebody's drive or stops your drive, look at those hidden yards in the game. How many penalties did we have today, and how many yards was it? Yeah. If we look at that right there, that decided the game more than anything else. Because I think when you go out there, you see a pass interference, then a face mask, back-to-back. You're talking about 30 yards at that point. And if you're inside the red zone, basically half of it, and you move them closer and give them an opportunity. So I think guys have to understand the world deals with all that fantasy. When you're on that football field, it's about the hitting yardages that you can avoid or pull out of it to give yourself a better chance. Because imagine if you and I go run a 40, and I take off running 40 yards, and when you get to 20, they tell you got to go back 20 more.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still going.
No chance.
I can be slower than you, but you're not going to beat me if you keep messing up.
Yeah.
So the thing of it is we have to start looking at it like that. Like we run a 100-yard field one day, okay? And every time we get a penalty, we start back at the goal line. That is what happens a lot, and you can't do that because you basically at that moment is helping somebody to go beat you. It's hard enough to win by yourself, but you damn sure don't want to help them beat you.
And B-Mitch, you've been a leader on these teams, right? Especially young teams. How do you correct those mistakes as players? We know we want what the coaches to do, but how do you correct those mistakes as players and as a leader?
You take ownership in it. You know, coaches are going to do what they do. They have to lead the way. But on the field, the players have to understand that, you know what, you're just as important as a coach. You know, this is your team too. You don't have to wait for the coach to say everything. And when you go in practice, what I used to do once I got like a little older, long in the tooth, the young guys would come along and I would be out there running full speed on them. And they're like, man, why you running so hard? I said, because I don't want you to take my job. You know, oh man, we're not trying to, well, if you're not trying to take my job, fool, you don't need to go on this football team. You have to find a way to make it competitive. Even in this day and age where they don't let them get competitive, you got to find a way so guys understand we mean this. You watch Jamal Adams on the other side. Hell, that dude act like somebody took his damn food or something or cursed out his mama because he played the whole game with a certain level of intensity. He ain't that hype. You know, but he finds a way to make himself get hyped up.
And they ain't make that many plays, but was there. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So.
Yeah, and Tana, I mean, you've been that leader in that locker room too, right? You've been somebody that all these players look up to, even today. How do you get these guys locked in and continue to finish out this season?
Well, I mean, honestly, you know, each man has to just look themselves in the mirror and say, hey, I got to do my best to do better. And one of the things that B. Mitch just talked about, those hitting yardage, that last drive. I look at those kind of penalties like that when penalties start piling up, especially pass interference penalties. Sometimes they are from previous moments in the game when they wanted to call it and they didn't. And because I look at that was like a ticky-tack pass interference call, and especially for a young guy in St. Jude's who I think very fond of when it comes to his game. But you have to understand, if you're that close to a guy, calm down. Don't be so nervous to where you're putting your hand places where you know these refs looking for you to do those certain things. You're already there. Just knock the ball down. And I think a lot of guys like that, so young in the mind, haven't played enough in years, don't understand that those moments can be very critical. And as you saw, it was very critical for him. Then he followed that back up with a getting out of whack again, trying to make a tackle, an easy tackle. I'm going to grab a face man. He didn't try to do it. It just happened. But because he's already behind the 8 ball with the bad play he made before, he's thinking too much. So, you know, that's one of the things that stands out to me, man. You just got to cool off. And if you got a guy on the other side and Witherspoon's young, is not rattled, and he's playing cool, calm, and collective.
He's a vet.
Everybody else should be the same thing. So that just shows you a sign of a guy pressing a little bit more than he should be because he made one play. I mean, one bad play, right?
Yeah, man, I appreciate your guys' insight so much. Another guy who I appreciate their insight on is the legend Logan Paulson. Let's send it down to Logan in the warm studio. He's going to break down some plays for us. We'll be back.
All right, Brian, thanks so much, buddy. It is nice and warm here, so I appreciate you acknowledging that. All right, so I know there weren't a lot of positive things, but there's two guys that I thought had really excellent football games. Obviously, we talked about B-Rob. He, is a beast, does everything he can. This is another guy that I thought did a great job here with Gibson on this, like, what I would call scissors route. So let's talk about what's going on here. So we got man coverage here, right? They're going to lock this up. We got this guy right there. There we go, all lined up. And then Bobby Wagner's going to have the back. This guy in the middle of the field here is the plug player. This guy in the back end is the post player, right? So I love this concept. It's so simple. Basically, you're going to get Logan Thomas. I think this is Jahan Dotson out here running verticals, right? They're going to clear this out. We're going to run the back here, and he's going to do a little stutter, then get to the corner. Watch what this does to Bobby Wagner. This little bit of stutter, right? He thinks he's going to run it out. He's expecting this. See how his feet are stopped here? Love it. Messing with the expectation of the defense, pushes right by, and you can tell that he thought he's just going to run a seam because see how Bobby Wagner's running this way up the field while Gibson's breaking out? Love that. Love the little nuance there. And also, great job by Sam Howell here. Really outstanding job sitting in there, knowing you got the matchup you want. I mean, that's so important, knowing you got the matchup you want. Great job here, staring down the face of a barrel. We talked about Boye Mafe all week. He did not disappoint. Great pass rusher here, but great job by Sam, not turning this pressure into a sack, staying in the pocket, putting a little bit of air under it. My heart was palpitating when I saw this, but great job by Sam, great job by AG, and then way to finish this play, man. This guy's going to the Hall of Fame. So awesome job in terms of play design, and like just simple stuff, identifying coverage and beating that pressure. Great job by Sam Howell. Another guy that I thought did a fantastic job was our guy, Jamin Davis. He had 10 tackles. He led the team in tackles today. Great job by him. Super fantastic work. This play is really easy by Seattle. It's a little Wanda play here. So you got crack back here. We got two double teams on the inside. Double here, double there. This first double here is going to Jamin, right? I love that Jamin identifies this hard action coming back across and says, I don't need to go anywhere. I'm in my gap. You can see this offensive lineman here. His eyes are kind of looking right at Jamin. He misidentifies, and then Jamin coming through and delivers a devastating shot on the runner, man. Devastating shot on the runner. This is what Ron's talking about every single week when he says, be decisive downhill into your gap. Be decisive. Peel these double teams. Give those defensive tackles those one-on-ones you're looking for. Get in there. Bow. Love that. Get up there, be a beast, and let's check that out from a different angle. This is what it looked like for the running back, and this is kind of a scary thought here. You can see this, you can kind of see this double team getting a little thick here. These guys, these big bodies right here, getting a little thick on the down guy there, getting a little thick, and then he just kind of peels through right there. Great job, delivers a tackle, brings his feet, brings his hips. Those are two young football players that I thought showed up in big moments and had excellent football games. So I know there wasn't a lot of bright spots, but I thought those two guys deserved a shout out. Brian, B. Mitch, Santana, back to you guys.
Thanks, Logan. Appreciate you. Shout out to Logan Paulson. Appreciate you, man. Brian Kobe here with Santana Moss, Brian Mitchell, and we are awaiting Sam Howell's presser. We are just going to talk to you guys until he gets here. Sam likes to take his time. But where is Sam? It's like, where's Waldo, right?
Where's Sam?
Where is Sam? Now, so while we wait, right, let's look forward, okay? We know we have the Giants coming home, right? We're going to be back home. How can we fix some of these mistakes and look forward to the Giants and, get a win on our belt?
Just got to get back out there to practice, man. I think one of the things that you saw of all this stuff is you get a chance to watch yourself on tape. The eye in the sky don't lie. And that's one of the things that I used to always pride myself on, that when I left the game on Sunday, and trust me, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
I used to tell myself, I want to make less than 5 mistakes. You know what I mean? I want to be able to say I can count on both hands, on one hand, all my mistakes.
Oh, Sam's here at the presser. We'll take Sam.
Really?
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, Sam. So how do you process this one? Because you have these fourth quarter drives, get the game, tie it up, but you guys lose.
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously we did some good things there at the end, but I thought, for the most part, our defense played a good game, and we had plenty of opportunities for us to take control of that football game, and we didn't make the plays that were needed. I think, the game was kind of tied there for a little while, and, we were just kind of waiting. It just seemed like we were waiting. Someone was going to take control of the game, and they kind of took control of it. And I thought our defense kept us in the game, and we just got to find ways when the game is tied to go out there and make the plays that take control of the football game. And obviously, you don't want to be in a position where we got to go down and make a drive late to tie the game. We'd like to be on the other side. So, credit to our defense for most of the game, just keeping us in it. We made some plays down the stretch, but got to be better throughout the game to beat good teams like that.
Do you feel you've kind of taken a step up just as a playmaker the last couple weeks with some of the plays, just keeping your eyes down, the throws to B-Rob, those kind of plays?
Yeah, I just try to, get better each and every week. I think the guys on, our skill players and B-Rob did a good job today of this, just keeping the play going on when the play breaks down. They did a good job extending the play and trying to get open when things weren't there early on, and B-Rob did a good job of that. He tells me all the time, if plays break down, just find me. And he made some good plays today, and we just got to continue to try to get everybody involved. I think when we get everybody involved, that's when we're hard to stop.
To have B-Rob and AG as your leading targets, was that a byproduct of the run game kind of not working as well in the first half, or was that the game plan going in to try to get them more involved in the screen game?
Yeah, going in, our game plan is to try to get everybody involved. We want to establish the run game pretty early, and they did a good job stopping the run in the first half. So it made it tough. They did some good stuff in coverage as well, and we just got to continue to just find ways to get people involved. It wasn't coming in. We weren't trying to throw the ball to B-Rob and AG a lot, but just kind of how the game goes sometimes. And they brought a good amount of pressure there in the first half too. And I think when we have pressure, those guys on the checkdowns are some good options. So that was part of it as well. But they did a good job. There was that one drive in the second half where they ran the ball well, and we had struggled to run the ball the whole game, but that drive, they just kept going, and O-line did a good job moving those guys, but and they gave us a chance today.
How much does that lift the team when you go 4 straight runs in those situations, pick up some first downs, and kind of change the offense a bit?
Yeah, it's huge. I think when you establish the running game in a football game, that you have a good chance to win the game. And obviously we struggled to do that early on, but on that drive, we just kept calling the same run concept, left and right. Out of 3x1 and 2x2, and the O-line was doing a good job. B-Rob and AG, they were hitting the holes, and it's fun to watch. I think when we can run the ball like that, run the ball effectively, it opens stuff up in the passing game as well, and it just makes our offense harder to stop.
Key play late, I believe it was a 4th down, and you go to McLaurin to pick it up. In those moments, is that just where your read goes, or are you saying to yourself, I know I can trust 17 on this?
Yeah, some of those plays, I can go to kind of either side and stuff like that. But if the game's on the line and it's one-on-one, and Terry's a guy that I trust in those moments, and obviously Terry, we kind of struggle to get all the receivers involved in today's game. But I know in those situations, Terry's going to do everything he can to win and give me a little space to get the ball in there. And he came up big. I think there was 2 4th downs on that last drive. So he's just a great player. I got to do a better job trying to get him the football and get him more involved in the game. But definitely in those situations, he's a guy I'm going to go to.
Did you want to go for 2 there at the end?
Yeah, it's tough. I thought, we kind of had all the momentum, so it's like let's play for overtime and think we can carry this momentum into overtime and win the game. I thought, our defense for the most part, was playing well. They got some good stops and they were forcing a lot of field goals. And I think there in the end we had a lot of momentum, and there was still a lot of time left. The game wasn't over. So I think kicking an extra point out of stand with coach's decision. I think there was a lot of people that were on board with his decision, but us not going for 2 is not why we lost that football game.
And how do you get more consistent? You were talking about that earlier. What can you guys do to, be more consistent?
Yeah, it's tough. You got to go back and watch the film and look at the reasons that we, had those few 3 and out. I don't know how many 3 and outs we had. It seemed like we had a lot of 3 and outs, and you got to go back and look at why those things were happening. Obviously, establishing the run helps, but I got to do a better job just making quicker decisions, getting the ball out faster. Had a couple sacks, and we just got to avoid the negative plays and do a good job on 1st and 2nd down, and so that way we're in 3rd and manageable situations.
Take 3 more. Obviously, there's still a lot of time in the season for you guys to rack up some wins, but this opponent was one that was right ahead of you guys in the standings. Does that make the loss even feel a little bit worse than when you could have had a chance to move up and get closer to a wild card spot?
Honestly, I don't really look at standings as far as who's ahead of us, who's not. Obviously, I know this is NFC opponent, and they're having a good year. They're winning football games, and so they're obviously in the playoff conversation. But every game we play, we want to win, no matter if they're ahead of us, behind us. No matter what it is, every single loss hurts, and we try to treat every single game like it's the most important game of the season. So when we come up short, it definitely hurts.
And Sam Cosme was saying that he thought there was some momentum going with the offense when you guys were starting to run the ball there in the second half, had several carries in a row. Did you kind of feel that as well, that was a key stretch for you guys?
Yeah, for sure. I think that drive we had, I think that was the drive to go down and tie the game when it was 19-12. That was a big drive for us. Obviously they were probably, when we came out there for that drive, they were probably expecting us to try to throw the ball down the field. We kind of came out and ran the ball on first down and got a good gain, and we just stuck with it. Credit to EB for sticking to the running game, and we had some good runs on that drive, and that's the reason we were able to move the ball and score on that drive. And then obviously, just the last drive, I think we tried to run the ball a little bit, but we just kind of fell short of time. We had to start throwing it, and luckily, we had some receivers make some plays.
Do you feel like you're doing a better job feeling or anticipating the pressure? And if so, how is that helping you being able to do that?
Yeah, I think I'm doing a better job seeing things pre-snap, and they try to mix up the looks. They brought a lot of pressure early on in the football game, which was not something we've seen a lot from these guys on tape, but it's just something we were prepared for, and they like to blitz different guys. They like to bring Bobby, they like to bring 33, they like to bring 21, and they did a pretty good job disguising some of those pressures. But for the most part, I feel like I had answers as far as where to go with the ball when we were pressured. So it's just one of those things that I'm constantly trying to improve on.
And then the fumble. Sometimes they tell you to get down. Could you even they seem to wrap you up and you carried it for 5 yards. What did you think about that? And is there anything you could have done differently there?
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, I was kind of trying to go down. They were kind of trying to hold me up and get at the ball, but fumbling the football and is unacceptable. And I got to do a better job taking care of the football. I think I've done a pretty good job in the passing game taking care of it, but I gotta do it in the running game as well, especially if I'm going to be aggressive like that as a runner. I got to make sure I do my part and take care of the football, because turnovers and close games in this league, those turnovers lose football games. And so luckily our defense made a big stop after the turnover and got us the football back, so it didn't hurt us as bad. But definitely, we were moving the ball. That was a big game for us. So I killed the momentum on that drive. We could have went down and got some points there. But yeah, the fumbling the football is unacceptable.
All right, thanks, Sam.
Appreciate it.
Logan Paulson here, back in Ashburn. It's time for our post-game delivery presented by Paisanos. Since your Commanders scored 3 touchdowns today, make sure you visit your local Paisanos tomorrow, where you'll receive 3 toppings all day long. Free toppings, excuse me. All right, we got a nice pepperoni pizza here. This looks pretty yummy, and maybe those 3 toppings will help you kind of navigate this loss a little bit better tomorrow. I know it will help me, right? Get that pizza, put some chicken on there, maybe some spinach. That might be too healthy for you guys, but that's going to be really yummy. Let's check that out. Make sure you visit your Paisanos for that tomorrow. So my final thoughts on this game. I think that when I look at the breakdown, I totally agree with what Sam said to start that presser off. I think that when you look at this team, this game, offensively, they left some opportunities on the table. So many punts, 4 punts, 1 fumble, 4 field goals, only 2 touchdowns. In the NFL in 2023, man, you need to score points. And I think Sam understands that. EB understands that. This offense understands that. I think they did some good things, especially late. You saw the talent. You saw the big playability. It was great to see some of those explosive touchdowns. Gibson had 1. B-Rob had 1. Great job by them. But again, there's too many missed opportunities. And you say, look at the defense. They gave up 498 yards of total offense. The Seattle Seahawks ran 15 more plays than the Commanders did. And I think if I know I'm an offensive biased player here. I'm offensively biased. I say it's because that the offense wasn't able to execute in those critical moments. And I think they have gotten better. They've gotten better each and every week. But, the dynamic and the relationship of this team has totally shifted. It used to be a defensive-driven team. Now it's an offensive-driven team. And when the offense doesn't perform the way it needs to perform, this is going to be the result. So I think the defense played a little bit better today. Still not up to the standard we set in the preseason, but well enough to win the game. And I think the offense left some opportunities on the table. Now, looking forward ahead to the Giants game, I think there's a lot of good things to be excited about. Tommy DeVito's out there. He's not playing good football. This should be an opportunity for us to get in the win column, get back feeling good about ourselves as Commanders fans. So can't wait to check that out. But just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. We will have coverage of this game all week. Make sure you check out Command Center Podcast. We'll review this game. We're also going to preview the Giants game coming in the week. That's going to be on the YouTube channel, Facebook, all of our social media platforms. Make sure you check it out. And really, really appreciate you guys joining us. Stick with us, man. I know it's dark, but it's darkest before the dawn. Stay with us. See you guys next week.